Welcome to Module 2, Lesson 1. I'm going to start with an analogy. Think about a time when you walked into a conversation late. Let's say a few of your friends were having a conversation about whatever, and you walked in midway through, and when you started listening on to what people were saying, you didn't quite understand the story, whatever it was they were talking about. And maybe you asked some clarifying questions and you interrupted them for a little bit, or maybe you waited till the end and you asked your questions, you got it answered, and okay, everything's cool. Like, I understand. That's happened to me several times. The reality is that happens all the time in history class. Um, think if you really think about it, we have when we walked in those conversations with our friends, we have tons of background knowledge going into those conversations. We know all about these people because they're our friends. We know what they do for fun. We know what they do for a living. We probably know their families, or that maybe they are family. We know their history. We know a lot about them, and yet we still, midway through the story, we still can't figure out what they were talking about, what the story's about. So imagine how students feel like when a history teacher is telling them about people or events that happened long before they were born, about people that they don't know about, and maybe in some cases don't really care about. So it's difficult to expect them to be able to like know everything on the spot without any background knowledge. If we know that we can walk into a conversation with our friends, and we might not know what's going on despite the loads of background knowledge that we have about our friends. So that's why building background knowledge, especially in a history class, social science class, is extremely important. There's many ways to build background knowledge. You can show a short YouTube clip and have a conversation about that. You can have a timeline and have a conversation about that. If there's a political cartoon or a picture or a painting, you can have the students kind of look at it and check out different details and guide them through analyzing a photo. That's a good way to build background knowledge. There's tons of ways. You can have a little reenactment. You could act. If you're an actor, you can do a little role play thing. That's a great way. And you can have them read something, whatever. There's tons of ways. It all. What I suggest is you use your talents as an individual for your for your benefit. Some of us have different talents, and we should use those in any way possible to teach the lesson. Um, one of the more popular ways to build background knowledge is the way that I use is lecture. But the problem is, we've all been in situations where we've been in lectures that are boring, like straight up boring. They're bad. And if it's in college, I'm pretty sure we all found some. And if we, as people who like education and like school and want to be teachers, if we can get bored in lectures, imagine what it's like for high school students who might not even care about the subject, right? Like, we can't expect them not to be bored if we know as adults who love education have been bored in lectures. So we have to do everything we can to spice it up. Um, some of the things that I've learned in my experience with lectures is after 20 minutes of lecture, it's rough. It's rough after 20 minutes. And even within 20 minutes, we have to have different things going on in our lectures for them to be interesting and engaging for the students. Some of the things that I do is I'll have like a little 1 minute, 2 minute YouTube clip within my lectures embedded. Um, and I have them embedded already there, because and don't go looking for the video like during your lecture, because it might take you a minute to find it, and that minute is enough time for chaos to erupt, right? Another thing that I do is I might ask a yes or no question, and I'll say, if you guys think yes, go to that side of the room. If you guys think no, go that side of the room, and then we'll have a little quick discussion that takes like 2-3 minutes. If you do it a few times, they'll get really trained on it, and it's not a problem. Um, Another thing I do is ask a question and say, okay, I'm gonna expect an answer from a random person in a minute. So talk to your friends and make sure about, if you don't know what to say, talk to your friends so that way you what to say. And then what I'll do is I'll randomly call on the person and say, hey, when's your birthday? Let's say they say December 15th. I'll count 15 spots and say, you So it's a cool way to keep it random and also find out when their birthday is. So there's tons of different ways to make it interesting. So that's what this lesson one and module two, that's what it revolves around. Um, so you're gonna have two assignments. One where you come up with a way to build background knowledge using something other than PowerPoint. We all know how to do that. That's old. Stop using it. It's still good, but And two is you're gonna create a visual on Padlet.com, and so that way you can, if you don't know what Padlet is, you can use it and play with it. So you have another tool in your toolbox. Where you provide 5 ideas to spice up a lecture, and you provide rationale for those 5 ideas. So this unit, this module, I should say, is the historical topic that we're gonna use to learn all these teaching principles is the writing of the Constitution at the Constitutional Convention. Um, so that's what the experiential activity is about. The students are gonna pretend they're the founding fathers coming up with the Constitution, right? But they can't do that if they don't have any background knowledge about it, right? So they have to know about, the Articles of Confederation and why those failed, and why some people in the early United States wanted to have a constitution, a stronger central government, and why some people didn't. So they have to understand when during the reenactment of writing the Constitution, there's going to be groups who are butting heads, like I want a strong central government. Other groups like no, I don't. So they have to know the reasons why there's people who have conflicting views. So that's where the background knowledge comes into play. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna find a way to build background knowledge. I'll post a link to the Prezi that I use, that I made, that because I did it with lecture. You can do it with lecture and make your own Prezi or whatever. You just can't use PowerPoint. And then also you have to make a video giving rationale to why you chose that method for background knowledge. Don't make it longer than like a minute and a half, just real quick. So that's your first assignment in this lesson. And your second assignment is you have to use Padlet.com to convey 5 different ways you would spice up a lecture, and then provide rationale for those 5 different ways. And hopefully by the end of this lesson, you experienced a different way to build background knowledge, and you thought of ideas that you can do to make lecture more interesting for students. All right, so I hope you have a good time doing this. It was very relevant for me, and I'm sure it'll be relevant for you. So thank you very much.